What's up everybody, Aditya Mahajan here and welcome back to yet another YouTube video. In today's video, we'll be solving another lead code question number 816, also called as ambiguous coordinates. It has also been asked in day 13 of May Lead Code Challenge, so let's get started. We had some two-dimensional coordinates like 1, 3, 2, 0.5, and then they removed all commas, decimal points and spaces and ended up with just a string s. Return a list of strings representing all possibilities for what our original coordinates could have been. So they have also given that the original representation did not have any extraneous zeros. So that is, they never represented any number like 0, 0, 0, 0.0, 0.000, that is, or any other number that can be represented with less digits. Okay. Also, a decimal point within a number never occurs without at least one digit occurring before it. So we never started with numbers like directly 0.1. The final answer list can be written in any order. Also note that all coordinates in the final answer have exactly one space between them. Also, the constraints that we are given is s dot length is from 4 to 12, and this also include the curly braces. So exactly the string length is from 2 to 10. Now let us look at a few examples to understand the problem statement better. The first example that we are given is s equal to 1, 2, 3. So we can put a comma to separate the two coordinates or a decimal to represent the decimal form. Okay, so in the output for the first example, we should have following tuples, that is 1, 23, 12, 3, 1.2, 3, and 1, 2.3. Similarly, in the second example, we are given the string as 00011, and the output should contain tuples as follows: 0.001, 1, and the second tuple should be 0, 0.11. Okay, so one more thing that they have mentioned here is 0.0, 00, 0001 or 00.01 are not allowed because they contain trailing or leading zeros. And similarly, you can look at third and the fourth example. Now let us look at how we can approach to the solution of the problem. To understand the solution of the problem, let us start with thinking what are the things that we are given. Okay, so we are given length of the string s. If you do not consider the parenthesis, then we have the length of string given from 2 to 10. Okay, which is very small, and from it this is very clear that the brute force solution is accepted. Okay, so now if you look at the example one that we are given the string s to be 1, 2, and 3, and we need to give output as tuples. Okay, so basically we have spaces in every digit what we have, and if you look at the spaces, then we basically have three choices at every space between the digits. That is, either to put a comma or to put a decimal or not to do anything. Okay, for example, if you look at the first space we have, if you use a comma here and if you decide not to do anything with the second space, then we get our first tuple, that is 1, 23. And similarly, on the basis of choices what you take to fill in the spaces, we proceed further and we get our tuples. Okay, so what basically is happening is we are having the choices, and on the basis of decisions that we take, we are proceeding further. So whenever we have decision and choices, we think in terms of recursion. So now let us take the thing step by step. Okay, so the first step that we have is, from the given string we need to divide it into two coordinates. Okay, and this is the compulsory step that we have, because in the output we cannot just give, let's say, we only have one coordinate and we do not have any other coordinate, right? We need to give both the coordinates even if they are zero, right? So we need to divide the string into two parts so that we get the two coordinates that we have. So this is the first step, and which is compulsory, and we can do this with the help of a simple for loop. And we can say like, we need to iterate the string, and for every index I in the string, we can say the all the elements in previous to ith index would consist in one substring, and all the elements in the after part of the ith index would consist in another substring. So basically they would form two coordinates that we have. Okay, now the first step, the compulsory step, that is done. Now you can think of second and the third step as complementary steps. That is, either you have to give a decimal, or you do not give decimal and not do anything. Okay, so now basically we have two coordinates given, right? And in the every iteration of the for loop that we just saw, and in that two coordinates we need to get all possible places where decimal can be placed or cannot be placed, right? So we'll use a helper function and give this substring, first part of the substring and the second part of the substring, and get all the possible coordinates of x and y, right? And after that we'll just let's say cross multiply them to get all possible coordinates or tuples that we can get. So now as we saw that the helper function would basically take the first and the second part, that is the two coordinates, and return the all possible values, putting in the decimal or whether to take it or not. Okay, so in this helper function we need to handle a lot of corner cases. So let us, some of them are like this. If the substring or the coordinate that we have is null, we just don't do anything, we return null because there is no possibility. Similarly, in the case where we have the first and the last index of the substrings are 0, in that case too we return 0 because we said that we do not have trailing or leading zeros. That is why we return null. Similarly, if we have only 0 as the string, in that case we return directly s because there are no other combinations. And similarly, in case of a string format, something like this, x x x, and finally we have 0, in that case too we return 0. Okay, and whenever we have the first digit of the string to be 0 and we do not have the last digit to be 0, in that case there is a probability that the first is a decimal, that is 0 point something. So we will look into that. Okay, so basically and this last part would be the general case, that is we directly have number rather than trailing and leading zeros or the other corner cases. Okay, so basically to summarize, what we did is we started with the constraints and we looked at this is the brute force solution what we have. So we looked at that after every index or digits we have spaces, and in that we have three choices to make, that is either to put comma, and then we have whether to put decimal or not to put decimal. While comma, it was a compulsory step that we saw, that was the first step, and which is because we need to divide it into two coordinates, and we can do it with the help of for loop. And for the ith index we would have two coordinates after I and before I. After that we'll pass this first and the second coordinate to a helper function, which would basically give us all possibilities by placing the decimal point. Okay, and finally we looked at some of the corner cases that can come up in the helper function. So this is a solution for the approach that we just saw, and we are given a string as input and we are taking n, the size of that string. After that we are also creating a result vector res, which we need to return, which would contain strings. After that we are doing a for loop, which was the step 1, so that we can put commas and separate the string into two parts. These have indices equal to 1 to n minus 2 because we need to ignore the parentheses that we have. Okay, so after that we are creating two substrings with the help of s, and it would basically depend on the iteration that we have. Okay, so the first substring would be from 1 to I, and the second substring would be from I plus 1 to n minus 2 minus I. Okay, and these two substrings are passed to our helper function f. We will come to that in just a second. And this helper function would return two vector of strings which would contain all possibilities of coordinates that we have, along with taking into account the decimals. Okay, so now what we are doing is we are just doing a cross multiplication so as to get all tuples. So we are doing two for loops, and in each for loop, for the first for loop we are taking every element of a, that is the first coordinate, and every element of p, and then creating a final string and pushing it back into the result. Okay, so this is very obvious after getting the probabilities, and after that we are returning the result, which is the answer. Okay, so now let us look at what the helper function is doing. We are taking the string s into the helper function, which corresponds to the first and the second coordinate, and in this string we are taking the size of that particular substring that was just passed. Now in this we basically have three corner cases to look, that is in case we have the string which we are given is null or is of format like this, that is we have trailing and leading zeros. In that case the condition would be n equal to 0 or n greater than 1 and first index and last index are 0. In that case we return the null. Okay, second corner case what we have, if the string is of this format, that is first index of the string is 0, and then we have some digits in that, and last index is not 0. This is very important. In this case, there is probability that it would contain the first element to be decimal. Okay, that is what we are doing here. Okay, and after this, there is a corner case, is that either we have the s is having a single digit, or it is of this format, that is a number and only the last digit is 0. In that case, we just return this because we have a final 0, and this is the only possibility that we have. Okay, and this is a general case that we have, that is we do not have leading or trailing zeros, so we just create a result vector which contains this string first, and then after that we do a for loop and put decimals in all possible spaces that we have, and then push it back to result, and after that we return the result. Okay, so these return all the probabilities of putting the decimals into the account. Okay, so that's it, that's the solution for this. Now let us try to run our code. I'll just run it. Now let's just submit it. Okay, so we are getting runtime of 8 millisecond, faster than 74. But with the same solution, I earlierly got 4 millisecond, which was faster than 90%. Do not worry much about this because it depends on the submission test cases generated at that time. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. If you need more such LeetCode content, do subscribe and join the Discord server, and code link would be in the description. So that's all. See you in the next video. Bye bye.